that you all want to hear more about Overwatch 2. Allow us to invite you behind the scenes to explain more of what we're doing and why.
What? ¿Qué ha sido eso? ¡Ese era Maximilian!
To me, it's the next big step in the Overwatch universe. New heroes, game modes, major story beats.
El concept de Sorjun.
With competitive and PvE, I see Overwatch 2 as the Overwatch for all of my friends.
You know, we're always inspired by what story and franchise development does with the animated shorts. We really wanted to bring that cinematic experience into the game.
You can invest
Me estoy
in your
fijando hasta los
heroes and
aspectos
grow
de los
them
héroes.
over
¡Oh!
time.
¡Soldado
I'm
con
super geeked out
barba!
about
¡Soldado con
Overwatch
barba!
2.
¿La habéis visto?
Can't wait for people to
Tenía
play this
barba.
game. It just gets better and better.
Tenía
There are some
barba.
things that we just
¡Soldado!
can't do
¿La
without
habéis
a
visto?
sequel.
In Overwatch 2 is our Rome map.
¡Roma! ¡Roma!
We always want Overwatch to feel like this globe-trotting adventure for our players.
Mira qué
So we're having a
bonito.
lot of fun coming up with the Overwatch version of Rome.
Mira
We
qué
wanted a
bonito.
very romantic, sort of this powerful feeling of old world
Mira qué bonito
architecture.
Roma.
One of the most exciting things for me
Mira
is the
eso.
early building of these maps, where we get to sit down together with key people from the environment team, level designers, effects groups. We'll spend some time
Creo para
talking
Overwatch
about
2.
moments in the game that we really want to see, like the Colosseum or a grand view of the hills of Rome in the backdrop. And then we'll go back and do a paint over, or we'll do a concept painting of certain things based
Qué
on
bonito,
that.
tío. Mira
We
estos
try to draw
concepts.
inspiration from as many different sources as possible. For example, one of our environment artists had just taken a trip to Rome, and he returned with thousands of pictures and was so excited to work on a map set in Italy.
There's a lot of
Es muy
ancient
bonito.
architecture in Rome that represents the empire that it used to be. So we brought
Mira
some of
Duffy.
that back. Some of the things that are destroyed in real life, we kind of rebuilt.
No han borrado un
in a
fiel
kind of
Overwatch 2, lo
Overwatch
siento,
style.
muchacho.
It's one of the most beautiful pieces
Qué
of environment
bonito
art that I
es,
think we've
por
made
favor.
for the entire game, and it just absolutely took my breath away.
Es precioso, ¿eh?
Can we reveal more maps?
Yes, Scott. Scott, why don't you have the honor? Why don't you reveal, like, is there an artified, like, let's pick an artified one.
I know what map I want to talk about. It's the one that I just get super excited about. New York City. New York City is
Nueva York?
just an amazing Overwatch
Nueva
location.
York?
We're really striving to make it as authentic as possible while still putting this Overwatch spin on it.
There's a lot of
¡Qué
amazing
locura!
buildings and architecture pieces that just, especially for artists, stands out a lot. And they usually use this kind of Art Deco style from the 1920s, 1950s.
We started in an area that's a little bit like the village. There's some smaller shops
Wow.
there. There's a fire station, little pizza places, and things that people that are familiar with New York City will either recognize or maybe see the reference that we're trying to make with some of our different
mola,
locations.
tío.
It feels like something you haven't seen in other games before because it's uniquely Overwatch.
Well, we should
Mira qué
move
locura
on.
de
Otherwise,
mapa,
we
tío.
just have to reveal
And a whole new sound system that's driving it.
Nuevos
And
sonidos
we
para
didn't just
la
level
arma.
up a unit, we leveled up the rest of the game.
Mira Sorjun, tío, mira
When we first
Sorjun.
started working on Overwatch,
Sorjun
we
gameplay.
spent quite a bit of time
Sorjun
working
gameplay.
on gunfire sounds and just general combat feel to make it feel really awesome. We're revisiting pretty much everything. Nothing's off the table, so we're looking at even kind of small things such as quick melee attacks that every hero has. So they have kind of new audio pass and a new kind of feel and visual effect when you hit things.
One of the bigger efforts we're undertaking for Overwatch 2 is what we're calling our Weapon 2.0 Sound Pass. What this is a big overhaul to the weapon systems in the game. That means the way the gun feels in your hands. You
Mira,
can
Mati.
feel the ammo running out as you're getting lower on the clip. We've really tried to amplify those sounds to better encapsulate the gameplay and the gunplay that comes with Overwatch 2. Another key for the weapons was getting them to feel like they're in the environment. This meant working with Convolution Reverb. It's a new system that we've implemented into Overwatch. It's a way that we can capture the acoustics of an environment and transport it onto the sounds that we're using. So we went and captured tales of guns in different environments through our weapon shoots.
¿Qué coño? ¿Qué coño? ¿Te imaginas?
And then we've cut them and applied it so that we can support a lot more environments. Now we're supporting outdoor, urban outdoor.
Por eso están tardando tanto en hacer el puto Overwatch 2, tío, porque se van al campo a pegar tiros.
Small rooms.
Feel really visceral. Everything from making sure
Mira
that
Soryu,
the
mira
camera
Soryu,
shakes are crisp, making sure that if you
Mira
get
cómo
shot,
solo
you
dispara
know
y no utiliza
exactly these
habilidades.
tight indicators show up on the outside
Moira
of the
parecía
reticle.
diferente,
All these things play
¿Habéis
into
fijado?
making the game
Moira
feel
parecía
not
diferente.
just tight and
Un poco.
responsive, but also modern and up to date. Take 76, for example. What we wanted to do in Overwatch 2 with his weapon was make it really feel incredibly powerful. And that happens with a
también
bunch of
estaba ahí
different elements that
diferente.
mix together. But it really feels like the gun is almost just outside of your control. A lot of that comes down to this camera shake technology, where every time you fire the weapon, you want to feel like it's running through your
Tío, pero ¿qué
entire
están
body.
haciendo con
And the camera
Overwatch
shake
2?
gives
¿Se le ha
that
ido la
extra
puta
bite
cabeza o
every
qué?
single shot out of the
You
chamber.
know, we're of the mindset maybe 2CP doesn't exist in Overwatch 2, and maybe there's a new cool game mode that replaces it. We really want Overwatch 2 to feel like
¿Te
the next
imaginas?
evolution, a true sequel
Que desaparece
to
el
the
2CP.
first game, not an add-on. It's not a small part. It's not an extension of the original game. This is an evolution and a replacement to the original game, and I think it's exciting.
No van a tener que reworkear Paris y Horizon porque los van a puto borrar. 200 millones de IQ.
And we're also adding new spaces onto some of these maps.
¿Eso
It's a
es?
huge challenge for the art team. We take maps that a lot of people love and
Eso era
recognize,
Kings
and we have to add a lot more art and level design to it.
Es una nueva zona de Kings Row eso.
We came up to an area in Kings Row that usually has a gate on it. Suddenly that gate opened and I saw a new area of Kings Row that I had never seen before.
You may be playing a payload game type, and the payload may decide to take this new route instead of going the usual route.
That was really, really cool. It was like this eye-opening special moment.
Qué locura, chaval.
Lan, our lead tech
Qué locura.
artist on the environment
Qué
side,
locuraza.
really on our own free time, made a prototype of a sandstorm on the Temple of Anubis map.
And at the time, we didn't know what we wanted to do with that, but it looked awesome.
We looked at it
Puedes
and
tener
went,
diferentes
oh my
rutas
God,
en mapas
we
que ya
absolutely
existen.
have to do this.
So we put some new technology in place that allows us
Lo
to
del
do this
tiempo.
dynamically. You start the mission off, clear day. Midway through the mission,
Buah,
suddenly
qué
this
chulada. Mira eso, una
sandstorm
tormenta
or
de
heavy
nieve, tío.
weather would show up.
It made the world just feel so much more alive.
There's a sunset, daytime, nighttime, but depending on where you are in the world, these look different. California or Hollywood would have
¿Qué
what we
dices?
call a California sun. In New Bonnie, there's a great African sun that happens there. You start to get a sense of space and
Oh,
mood.
tío,
This is what
lluvia.
really brings the levels to life.
For me, the dynamic world's exciting. Just seeing these dramatic landscapes, the wind and the atmosphere blowing by. It's a much more cinematic experience for the player.
Before you start a mission, you look at a map. It's nighttime in Necropolis, or there's a sandstorm in Necropolis. Players can make some comp choices.
Mira el
based
arma
on
nueva
knowing
de
this
Widow. ¿Habéis visto el arma nueva de
information.
Widow?
Characters like Hanzo or Widowmaker start to be
Mira,
a
mira,
little
de
more
verdad.
valuable
Lleva
because
Widow
they have
trenza. Lleva
abilities
una
that
trenza
allow them to
recogida
see
al lado.
through the sand more clearly.
The options to kind of escape that.
There's things like the polar. You could be
Esa.
moving through these darker
¿Cómo
alleys,
mola,
and
chaval?
as soon as you hear that polar
Ese
spawn,
pasillo
it
parece una
suddenly
peli de
becomes, like,
miedo.
really spooky and kind of scary.
This very tall, elegant-looking character that's blindfolded.
Mira cómo
Three
mola
orbs
en mi
that
novia.
circle around her as her eyes, and we basically spun those orbs around her head as a big tell, launched them at the player, and
Pero
then
tío,
activate this
yo
tractor
quiero
beam,
eso de
and it's
personaje.
bringing you in, and then you get this awesome like anticipation of the hair opening up, so you know what's about to happen.
One thing we've just recently been experimenting
Wow.
with is this idea of
Chaval.
elite units. We didn't want the elite units to feel
¿Qué
like they're just,
coño?
oh, this guy's got double health and double damage. We want to make sure the elite units feel like they have different behaviors and have different attacks. So, for example,
Chaval.
an Omnic Grunt.
New Hero Looks,
One of the things that we showed last year at Blizzcon was the new looks for our heroes.
Ay,
The
Dios
theory
mío,
kind of going
ay,
in
Dios
was
mío,
like,
ay,
you
Dios
want to
mío, que vamos a
preserve
ver alguno.
the essence of your hero,
Vamos.
but also kind of show that heroes evolved and kind of changed and moved forward.
Hola,
so
Rosan,
we have a lot
majo.
more new looks So I'm excited to see how players and fans react to all of the ones that
Por
we've done so
favor.
far.
Maybe we'll share some of those new looks today, which would be cool.
We're going to reveal McCree's new look for Overwatch 2 as well as Pharah, and we're really excited to show off some of our first villains with Reaper and Widowmaker. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about technical wear, kind of like technical clothing. What that really is using very techie fabrics, as well as having very intricate but functional
Que sí, que lo habéis currado mucho las texturas, pero enséñanoslo ya, por favor,
With McCree, we took a couple of different approaches. He's got this classic cowboy look that it's really hard to mess with, because if you try to make him too sophisticated or too techie, it might not feel right for the character. But as a concept artist, you always want to change things around and try different shapes and silhouettes. So we did identify as Red Serape as the main thing for McCree.
Not bad,
we also tried a couple different things with McCree's cowboy hat. We didn't really want to mess with that too much, because that's a very iconic
Se arregla la barba.
So that's another piece that we
Se arregla la barba para nuestra
tried
cita.
some retro cowboy looks that mixed in some tech here and there. Some that were a little bit more
Tío, ha
techy
perdido
than
su
others, some that
poncho.
were a little bit more classic cowboy. We gave him a little bit
Ha perdido
of a
su
longer
poncho,
beard,
eh.
and it really gives
Pero
him
está
a
muy
nice kind of like a more aged look.
El
What's
brazo
different about
parece nuevo.
Pharah than some of our other heroes
A ver, Pharah.
is Pharah's completely covered in armor. We didn't want to change her silhouette too much.
Ah,
It
pues
was
no,
more
no ha
about
cambiado apenas,
experimenting
tío.
on different colors. So it felt really appropriate for her to be
Está más o menos igual,
harken
tío.
back to those original Overwatch colors.
Para
white
está igual.
and blue. One of the things
Básicamente,
that we
mírala.
wanted to update on Pharah was her visor. Instead of being
Se le ve un poco más actualizada. Se le ve un poco más actualizada la armadura, pero
and being able to see through it a little bit now
normalita,
allows us to see some
nah,
of her-
normalita.
some more of her emotions. Reaper was actually the ones I was very excited to work on, because I could see a lot of potential in how we can integrate
Dios,
his
cómo
cloak,
mola
his
Reaper.
cowl, and his armor, and
Chaval,
how we can make
pero
all
lo
those
estáis
shapes really
viendo.
sing within that classic, Reaper silhouette. We tried a couple takes with the first pass, like completely silver arms, more layers to his jacket. Reaper's back is obviously
Está
pretty
potentísimo.
sacred to us. But the thing you'll notice immediately is that it's now completely silver. Instead of the bone white, he's got this like almost like deadly edgy silver that just
Wow,
gives him that
chaval.
classic Reaper look. With Widowmaker, we started with the idea stage, exploring a breadth of ideas. We tried things like
Qué
a more
guapa,
insectoid
tío.
approach, treasure hunter. One of them made her feel like a classic
Está
Bond villain,
preciosa con
so we kind of
todo.
steered it back towards
Ay,
one of the
ay,
more
ay, ay, ay.
cyberpunk
Ay, qué
looking ones, almost
guapísima,
like a
tío.
futuristic
Qué
femme
bonita.
fatale, which is basically what Widowmaker is.
Qué
but
bonita
she
con
even
la
feels
trenza,
more
tío, qué
upgraded. So
preciosa.
I'm super glad that we went down this
Reina.
route. We played
Ay,
with different
Dios.
hairstyles too. Widowmaker has the really long ponytail that's really key part of her look. And we really liked the hairstyle on
Preciosa,
one of the
tío.
designs that was more braid, and it was really interesting look that also preserves Widowmaker's original silhouette with that long ponytail.
Está
We've been
preciosa.
working a lot with our domino engine and making our...
Una fecha, ni aunque sea, tío. Una fecha, ni aunque sea, tío. Ay. Esto se merece otro trago.